So I'm guessing one of the reasons you find it hard to make money online right now is because you feel like you keep having to copy people. And if you could just have $1 million idea on your own without having to receive it in a how to make 10K a month YouTube video, you could beat everyone to the opportunity and actually make money. And the problem is like you don't know how to see yet. You don't see these holes in the market before someone else sees them. And if you could do that, you'd make money a lot easier and a lot faster, and it would be way more fun. So I would love to show you kind of how I've learned to see these holes in the market of value. And really the first time that I recognized myself seeing one was the exact opportunity that made me $500,000 last year. So like this is so powerful, and I can't wait to show it to you because I've never talked about it on YouTube. So let's get into it. How do you spot these $1 million ideas in any niche? Here's what happens. Number one, the environment shifts. Something changes in the environment. Being a new technology, meaning the actual environment. Remember what happened in 2020? That changed a lot of stuff. Something shakes up the market and the environment. Something changes. A big change happens. And then problem fractals form. So because of that change, there's brand new problems that fractal across the market, meaning most people are suffering from these problems. And then number three is first principle thinkers. These people rush to solve these new problems, collect the value of the money, and they increase the total value in the market by solving the problems. And this happens every day till infinity. Until Jesus comes back, there will always be problems on earth. And this is what happens. Shift, new problem, first principle thinkers rush to solve these problems. Now, what I haven't put on here, which is very important, number 4, is tactic hunters will copy these people and collect the scraps that are left. And if you feel like you keep collecting scraps, or maybe you haven't made any money, it's because that's what you're doing. You're copying what first principle thinkers have already deduced for themselves and took all the money. But if you learn how to see these things, you can be that person who's the first one to solve these new problems. And we're going to go over some examples, and it'll all make sense to you. But just remember, something big changes things, and that forces brand new problems to form, problems that no one solved yet. And if you solve them, you'll be the one that's making money easily. You won't have a problem getting clients. They'll honestly just come to you. And so step 1 is to collect principles, not tactics. So we talk about this a lot in Copyly. We talk about first principle thinking. And the way you do this is if something's working, continue asking why, until you know the very core of why it's working, not just the tactic. So if you see someone's thumbnail that had a big red arrow and you're like, oh, I need to put a big red arrow in every thumbnail I have from now on. It sounds silly, but that's what we do, right? We copy the tactic instead of thinking, why does that big red arrow work? Is it because it draws our attention to a focused point? Is it because it adds curiosity? Is it because the red is like an alarming color to our mind? Why does the big red arrow work? And when you collect those principles, you can then use them in a brand new environment. Because what if YouTube stops using thumbnails? And your entire tactic was red arrow in a thumbnail. Well, then you're shot, right? Because you were copying the tactic, not the principle. So start collecting principles. And you do that by asking why. If your stuff isn't working, ask why. If your stuff is working, ask why until you know the first principle reasons. So check this out. Number 2, spot the new problems. And like I said, we'll go over examples. But in between 1 and 2, in between you collecting first principles and spotting new problems, an environment shift must have happened. And so you need to be aware and always keep an eye on the market and things around you. Don't just go mindlessly through the market. Think, what is going on? A good example of this is Google made some changes to their email stuff. And now it's a lot harder to get in people's inboxes. And if you weren't aware of that change and you were an email marketer, you just lost all of your business. You have to be aware of the environment and spot the new problems. But this brings opportunity because an environment shift divides the first principle thinkers from the tactic hunters. And it opens up new opportunities. So if everyone got reset to 0, and now's your chance to be the first one, to be the winner. And so spot the new problems. What are the new things that people are blaming their pain on? So from now until the end of the world, until Jesus comes back, there's always going to be pain on earth. That's kind of the curse of the fall of man, right? Sin. There's always going to be pain. We're always going to feel pain. But the problems are going to change. So people blame their problems on different things now. Used to be you didn't have the coolest bike whenever you went to school. Now you're not cool because you don't have the newest iPhone. Like the problems change, but the pain is still the same. So you have to be able to spot the new problems. What does the market blame their pain on right now based on the environment shifting? And then point number 3 is, there we go, position your product or service as the perfect solution. So when the environment shifts and people have new problems, you can't have a solution that solves the old problem, or people don't want to go with you. Instead, you must position what you do as the perfect solution to the new thing. So let's say that you did advertisements for people who in newspapers, but then people stopped reading newspapers and you're like, oh, well, crap. Now I have to start doing ads for TVs because people have TVs now, or radio. And then like, oh, well, people stopped watching TV now. It's all on YouTube. So now you position your ad agency as a YouTube ad agency. Do you see how you're still doing the same thing? You're advertising, you're persuading with videos. But you have to position it as the perfect solution to the new problem. A sick example of this, I think that's, we got one more. So 4 is solve additional problems on the back end. So once you have, the hardest thing to getting money is getting people to trust you with their money. And so once you've solved one problem for them by using this framework, then you can solve all these other problems. You don't have to resell them. They already trust you. And so let's go over some examples. Let's think about Amazon. The internet was a giant environment shift, brand new tech. And when the internet came on the scene, Jeff Bezos realized, you know what? This brings a whole new level of problems. Someone's going to want to buy a book on the internet without having to go to the store. And so he's like, you know what? Let's just sell books online. And so by selling books online, he positioned himself as the first person to do that on the internet, at least do it well. And then he captured that share of the market. But because he already had their trust of Amazon, then he began expanding other additional problems. And now they've been doing that for a decade. And now they sell everything. And you trust them. Why? Because they're Amazon. But they had to get that first foothold in the marketplace. An example for my students. So I teach people how to learn the skill of copywriting, how to learn written persuasion, even spoken persuasion, and then how to make money using that skill. And so I taught my copywriters how to think in first principles and not just copy other people. And so what happened recently was Alex Hormozi and Sam Ovens launched this thing called School. And now people are selling their digital products on School. And what that did is it created a new problem people blame their pain on. And so my copywriters were able to go in there and say, hey, I specifically work with school owners to help optimize their school VSLs, their school landing pages to get more students in. Do you see how tangible that sounds? They don't just come up to them and say, hey, I'm a copywriter, let me help you. They say, I specifically solved this one new problem that you're suffering from. And that's how you get clients very easily. And then once they have their trust, they can solve all these other problems that are harder to like market just because they already trust them and they're already inside their business. And so that is exactly how you do it. Another example would be Google. Think about how many things Google offers. It started as just a search engine. They saw that, hey, this new technology, the internet exists, but now people are having trouble searching for stuff. So we create the search engine. And now they own YouTube videos. They own Gmail. They have Google Drive, Google Docs. Like they added all these things onto the initial trust from that first environment shift. And so if you learn how to think like this, hopefully it'll make it a lot easier for you to make some money. And hopefully this video like blew your mind and it gave you a whole new view of reality that will always be different. But yeah, if you enjoyed, there's more playlists in the description which teach you skills, beliefs, and getting clients to help you make your first 1K online. So check those out if you want to do that. And see you in the next one.